So good morning. My name is Jane Morgan and thank you for joining the Bigtincan Holdings Limited Q4 FY 2022 Appendix 4C and Quarterly Report Briefing. Today I'm joined by Bigtincan co-founder and CEO David Keane, Global Financial Controller Cyril D'Souza, and Chief Product Officer Stefan Toulon, who will discuss today's quarterly results release and provide an update with a Q&A session to follow. To ask a question throughout today's presentation, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. David, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Jane, and good morning, everybody. Yes, my name's David Keane, the CEO and co-founder of Bigtincan. And as Jane said, with me today, we have Cyril D'Souza, our Global Financial Controller, and Stefan Toulon, Chief Product Officer. For today's call, we'll be discussing the Appendix 4C report that was uploaded to the ASX this morning, together with a brief supporting slide presentation that has also been released to the ASX. Now, before we start this call, I do want to send my thanks to our entire global Bigtincan team, who have again shown their ability to execute, delight our customers, and deliver a strong result for this quarter that closes out a transformative FY22. All right, let's get on to today's results. I'm going to bring up the slide deck here for you. All right, let's get started. So let's jump into the first slide. So just a few highlights from the 4C today. As you'll hear from Cyril, total cash receipts increased 113% to 31.3 million from Q4 FY21. Operating cash payments of 31.2. That includes costs related to the Brainshark integration program. And that's our third consecutive operating cash positive quarter. The company had 33.9 million in cash and cash equivalents at the end of June 2022. But if we jump to the next slide, I thought I might spend a bit of time talking about some of the trading highlights in terms of Bigtincan's performance. One of the things we talk about in these 4Cs is the progression on the annualized recurring revenue. And this year we've now passed $120 million of annualized recurring revenue. And as we talked about before to investors, certainly at Bigtincan, we see the benefits of the enterprise customer base driving that growth. But one of the things I thought would be insightful for investors would be to think about how the company is translating that ARR growth into revenue certainty. The chart on the right here talks about the contract length by ARR. So it gives you a view of how to think about the split of that ARR. Now, we've talked a lot to investors about the typical sort of 12-month contract. And at the end of June, 12-month contract customers made up 57% of the ARR base. Now, we do have some customers in Bigtincan that are on less than 12 months contracts. And it's not a typical case, but it does happen. And we have about 10% of our revenue, of our ARR, in that less than 12-month contract base. But we can, I think the interesting figure for investors here is that 33% of the ARR base is now in more than 12-month contracts as we finish June 2022. And that certainly helps the company to get that increased revenue certainty when we work with our enterprise customers. Now, one of the other things we like to talk about in these 4Cs is some of the traction we've had in the market, both with new logos and expansions. Now, in the 4C document, you'll see a bunch of names that I thought I might call out a few to talk about. One of the ones I think is really interesting for Australian investors, of course, is Jayco Australia. And that's a wonderful win for us as they see Bigtincan's technology helping them to sell in new ways when they're bringing their products, which are, of course, incredibly important in today's world, to their customers. But they need new ways to be able to engage and sell. And they're using Bigtincan's product for content delivery, as well as really pioneering with some innovative augmented and virtual reality technologies. Another interesting new logo for us this quarter is McLaren Group. Yes, that's the car folks out of the UK. Again, looking at Bigtincan as a sales tool. And I think there's interesting growth opportunities in that account. Other new logos in pharmaceutical space, even in sports this quarter. And in terms of expansion deals, I think some interesting names there. Farmers Insurance and Allianz Life Insurance, both expanding in this quarter as we see opportunities in the financial services sector. Abbott Laboratories and Roche Diabetes Care on the Bigtincan life sciences space. WL Gore in manufacturing and life sciences, and of course others as well. And we're just seeing those companies realizing the importance of how they need to sell to their customers and how they need to manage the way they engage with their customers in today's new economy. Now, we've mentioned this to investors before. We did a little business update in May, and where we talked about Bigtincan being expected to report our maiden adjusted EBITDA positive full year results, FY22, and this report confirms that is on track, as well as being on track to meet or exceed our revenue guidance for FY22. Something else we talked about in that May business update was cash flow break even to be achieved in FY23. So all those things continued along post that May update. Now on the next slide, I think what's important for us if we think about what Bigtincan really does is how our technology plays such an important role with our customers. And Stefan Chulon is going to give us a bit of an update on the progression on the technology side for this quarter. Steph, over to you.
Thanks, David. So we talked about our vision before at Bigtincan at our recent product and technology update. We went into the demo of our end-to-end solution. But I really want to overemphasize why it's important, even more important today than ever before. Now, Bigtincan really is all about helping our customers deliver the buying experience of the future to their buyers. And it's more important because the trends of digital and the remote economy continue to be strong. And our customers are looking for solutions like Bigtincan's content, learning, and engagement hub to help them operate and win in this environment. Whether it's from optimizing productivity of their sellers or delivering the buying experience across new and emerging channels, in person is the most common, digital is what we're used to, but virtual is the future. Bigtincan solutions really support whatever our customers' needs are. In terms of productivity at Bigtincan, it's been a busy quarter. In the run up towards the end of the year, we shipped over 75 new features, both on the platform and across each of the hubs. A couple of call outs. The general availability of an updated user interface across our learning and engagement hubs, really improving the overall platform experience, regardless of whether our customers are using one or multiple solutions. The rollout of our conversational intelligence solution in Engagement Hub, bringing insights into the effectiveness of how a meeting has been performed by a seller and their audience. That's been powered by our Voice Vibes technology. And Content Hub version 5.9, which includes support for additional modern content formats. And we think this is exemplified by the use case of Guess's rollout of the Matterport-built 3D, quote here, digital twins of their stores, which have been fundamental in digitizing their merchandising and store training programs. But in terms of defending and reinforcing our technology, Bigtincan continues to invest into our IP and patent coverage. It's great to be able to announce that during the quarter, Bigtincan was awarded an additional patent that's taking the total stable to 16 and on top of the additional 15 previously. The four main areas, as we can see here, cover content management, training, coaching, remote communications, and what's commonly referred to as XR or augmented reality and virtual reality. Bigtincan is a platform-first product, and so we really recognize that it requires IP and defensibility in all these areas to bring our solution to our customers. And so, our investment into these areas is not just a siloed; it's really part of a holistic strategy across all of our products. And now I'll hand over to Cyril.
Thank you, Stefan. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all on this call. Customer cash receipts for the quarter were 31.3 million, in line with the company forecast, which represent an overall increase of 113% from the previous corresponding period. The sales of receipts were driven by strong accounts receivable balances, which were collected in the quarter, as well as new, expanded, and renewal opportunities, which were closed, billed, and collected within the quarter. Total operating cash payments for the quarter were 31.2 million, an overall increase of 113% from the previous corresponding quarter. The decrease in costs were due to the adjustments in staff costs, marketing, and specific vendor programs initiated from Q3 FY22. The company continued to invest in server and hosting infrastructure to support our customer base in North America, Europe, and the Asia Pacific. In summary, from an operating cash flow perspective, the company generated a net cash of 49,000. This included 800K allocated to the integration of Brainshark within the quarter, making the year-to-date integration cost related to Brainshark of 1.8 million. And this is out of the total integration of 5 million that was set at August 2021. Turning to investment activities, we continue to invest in long-term software development projects as we believe these projects are essential for the long-term sustainable growth, with 4.7 million invested in the quarter. Now, although there was a slight increase in this quarter from the last, these are essential for the data products and our AI developments. And these investments are necessary to add to our FY23 and beyond growth. The business finished FY22 with 39.3 million in cash and cash equivalents and is well funded to execute on our company plans for FY23 and beyond. Q3 has historically been a strong quarter in terms of receipts due to the business that's closed towards the end of the fiscal year. And you can see that displayed in this graph for the previous years. Cash receipt growth for the quarter was driven by a good influx of medium to large size customers signing up during the second half of FY22. As mentioned, total cash receipts for the quarter were 31.3 million. When the multi-year payment of 1.3 is backed out, the remaining 30.1 when annualized represents a strong correlation with the FY22 ARR total of 120 million. That's all for me. Thanks, and back to you, David.
Thank you, Cyril. So looking ahead, first of all, we've talked about this in that May business update, but from a cash perspective, you can see the company is set up for that cash flow break-even position to be achieved in FY23. Cyril talked about that maiden adjusted EBITDA positive result, and we're pleased to confirm that with an increase in that adjusted EBITDA compared to the result achieved in the first half of FY22. And as you heard from Stefan, the company continues to believe that our marketplace is something unique, that is really well suited to help enterprise organizations to create that new buying experience that takes advantage of our ongoing transition to digital and remote, and that the technology innovation that Bigtincan is building is going to provide that fundamental layer for the company to continue to grow and build successfully into the future. So that's really it for our 4C briefing. Obviously, for investors, we'll be looking forward to seeing you in around a month when we announce the full year FY22 results and talk more about FY23. But we thought it would be worthwhile getting together today to give you this update.
Yes, and thank you all for joining the Bigtincan Holding Limited Q4 FY 2022 Appendix 4C and Quarterly Report Briefing. A copy of today's presentation will be available on the Bigtincan website in the coming days. But as David said, we look forward to hosting you next time. Thanks again.